a few words I want to address to Colts fans everywhere. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I truly have enjoyed being your quarterback.
Peyton Manning is leaving the Indianapolis Colts. No big surprise there, but still very moving testimony from both Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts owner earlier today. We're very fortunate today on Mean Street to have Hall of Famer and NFL legend Fran Tarkenton here. Fran's a very busy man lately, recently launching a show on Sirius XM, a weekly talk show. Also has a number of small businesses, including, I want to make sure I get this right, Fran. Of course, I lost the name. Hang on.
Well, here, I'll give it to you.
OneMoreCustomer.com, which is OneMoreCustomer.com, a small business advisory business that you have underway also. As well as that, you're a writer for the Wall Street Journal with an opinion piece earlier today on bounties in the NFL. So you've been very busy lately, Fran.
Well, I have, and thank you very much, Evan. Good to be with you. And the article we had, it's the fourth one I've written for the Wall Street Journal op-ed. And this is the most serious matter that I think the NFL has ever faced. This is unprecedented. It's wrong. But we have a very, very tough sport in football. I played 18 years, and I only missed 5 games because of injuries. I've got artificial shoulders right and left. I got 150 stitches across my lip. I had a torn ACL, broke my leg, all those things. But we didn't have bounties on us. There weren't, these were hard plays. This is something new to the NFL, a tough game. We're dealing with the whole concussion issue. We're dealing with injuries. And now we read and we know that the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, Gregg Williams, not only the last 3 years when he was there, but also when he was at the Washington Redskins as a defensive coach, when he was at the Buffalo Bills as a head coach, he's putting bounties on players such as Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, not Drew Brees, but Kurt Warner and Brett Favre and other players. And he gets his defensive players all riled up and gets some bounties of $1,000, $2,500. He double it in the playoffs to go and take these people out, to knock them out, to put them on a stretcher.
Now, Fran, in your piece, you call, I think you basically called for the expulsion of Gregg Williams from the NFL for doing this. I don't know what the NFL is doing right now in terms of reviewing the incidents. I'm sure they're going to have more to say about that in the future. But you're basically calling for very, very, very stiff penalties. Do you think the NFL today can afford to do kind of harsh penalties given the sums of money that are at stake in these kinds of decisions?
Oh, and that's their problem. They're being sued by players that are accusing them of not having the right protocol of concussions, players that are suffering from dementia, from Alzheimer's, that we now know that these head injuries have helped bring on, and there's a whole movement going on already. Now, how would you like to be lawyers out there now dealing with this thing that you've got your general manager, your head coach complicit, you've got a defensive coach that's paying bounties to take people out, and you bring that on top, they've got legal action that will just flood the waterfront.
Right, but Fran,
they have got real problems with
Fran, let's talk about Sean Payton, though. Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints franchise, the franchise itself is very valuable to the NFL as an overall organization. It's definitely one of their sort of most well-known, most popular franchises.
I'm not sure about it.
Well, but all I'm saying is, can the NFL really do something drastic against the Saints as a franchise, given that the NFL has something at stake here?
Well, New England, they had Spygate in New England where they're trying to get other people's signals over a camera. They fined Bill Belichick $500,000 just for that, and they had to give up a #1 draft choice. They're going to take. They've got to take a harsh order against the Saints. I think they ought to ban Gregg Williams from football, and he's already moved on to another team. I think Sean Payton will get suspended for a certain period of time. Mickey Loomis, the general manager, will do the same thing. I think they'll take draft choices away. They're not going to destroy the franchise. But you cannot let this creep into the National Football League This story is not going to go away. The legal liability for a league, and let's face it, this is a multi-billion-billion-dollar league, and they're vulnerable, and all the vultures are going to come after. And now they got some real meat on the bone here, and they've got a Goodell will take really harsh action against the Saints and against the people involved. Is it going to close down the franchise? It will not close down the franchise. Of course not. Fran, but he's going to take harsh action.
Fran, let's turn to Peyton Manning. And let me ask you, you were a former quarterback. You played quite a few years.
18 years.
18 years. Now, why doesn't Peyton Manning, I don't want to, I don't know the exact nature of his injury, but it's a neck injury. If you're Peyton Manning, why don't you just retire? Why don't you end on a high note?
Because he wants to play. We all want to play, and he's physically well. I know Peyton well and his father Archie. He's physically well. He's working out. He wants to play football. This thing that's happening is the best thing for everybody. It's best for the Indianapolis Colts. It's best for Peyton Manning. This is no surprise. The Colts are in a rebuilding mode. They're going to draft Andrew Luck #1. Luckily, they got the #1 pick because they were so bad last year without Peyton. And so they're going to get the #1 choice. They got a great young quarterback that'll be there for 15 years. They're in a rebuilding mode. They fired their general manager. They fired their coach. Everything changed. Peyton doesn't need to be playing in Indianapolis this year. He needs to go play on a team that is ready to win now, not rebuild, because Peyton will play maybe 1, 2, or 3 more years.
Okay.
He's going to go to a team that can win today.
Okay, Fran, so let's take your best guess, and I know it's just that. Your best guess as to where he ends up. And for our viewers here in New York, is there any shot he ends up at the Jets?
That's an interesting. I'd like to see that, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's the Miami Dolphins or the Washington Redskins or the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. And so what can a listener to your new radio show on Sirius look forward to, Fran? Lots of football, but what else?
No, we do some sports, all sports, but we do politics, economy. I'm a small business entrepreneur, a lot of business. The topical stories, the ones that are hot. We did cover this bounty story at the opening of the show. It's a 3-hour show on Monday night from 6 to 9 Eastern time on Sirius XM Radio, and we're just having a great time with it. And it's really nothing quite like it because we do cover the waterfront of current stories and stories that are of interest to everybody, and tax, economy, and there's so much going on, politics and the election and Super Tuesday and this. And so it's got a little bit for everybody.
Well, Fran, we look forward to talking to you in the future, maybe when we figure out where Peyton Manning actually ends up. Fran Tarkenton, NFL legend, thanks for joining us today.